Hey guys, welcome to our weekly GBlue Depth Ecosystem AMA. Sorry I missed you guys last week. I was on a little business trip last week, so we did not have an AMA last week, but got tons to go over this week, and I'm super pumped to get into it all. First, I just want to make sure my streaming setup is working properly. I'm doing it a little bit differently today. I've got Twitch set up, so we're streaming to YouTube. We're streaming to both X accounts, my own and the Blue X account. We're streaming to Twitch. We're streaming to Abstract Portal. So let me just double check that that's all working smoothly. All right, Abstract Portal looks good. Twitch looks good. YouTube always works. Don't got to check that one. All right, looks like we're good to go. All right, yeah, so like I mentioned, lots to go over today. We're going to talk about some updates that happened to Depth and the Depth website. Later on in the stream, I'm going to demonstrate the whole process of claiming a free Soulbound NFT, the Depth Soul NFT, and upgrading it. I'm going to go over some of the updates to the site and the different ways that you can interact with your Depth Soul, and how we've made some improvements to make that easier for you guys. And yeah, just talk about a bunch of new features that have been released and what's coming next. So get comfortable, guys. We got a good stream for you today. The alpha, you bet, man. Let's go. So I'll try and let me just make sure I can see my Abstract Portal comments. 1 second. Hey, Wolf, let's go. He says, let's go deep. All right, so let's jump into it. So first thing, the new site revamp. Ever since the site was released, I've known that we've needed to make some updates to make it more professional, give it that more professional feel, and just that more polished look, and just also to make it easier to interact with and easier to understand. So I think we've done a pretty good job accomplishing that. We still have that nice effect as you scroll down of feeling like you're going deeper and deeper into the ocean. So we kept that effect, but we just kind of upped their game a little bit on the professionalism of it. We got that cool meter at the top that kind of shows you how far down the page you're scrolling with the different ocean depths there. Thought that was a pretty cool effect there as well. Millions, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing great, buddy. So yeah, so some of the in addition to just a better, more professional look, we tried to make a lot of the information just more accessible to you guys. So starting with here we have the tiered depth deterministic yield section. So here you can kind of see like what kind of depth amounts and dollar values you can expect to earn at the different tiers. You can see, so basically, for anybody that's new, let me just actually start at the very beginning. And again, I'm going to save the demo for a little bit later in the stream because we seem to pick up more viewers as time passes. So yeah, that's something else we're going to definitely talk about. Cool APY on GBlue. We'll definitely get into that a bit later as well. But yeah, for anyone that's new, Depth, what is Depth? Depth is an innovative, experimental, I guess you could say, staking protocol on Abstract Chain. It's something where it's built to get a ton of users, give you guys something really fun to do on Abstract Chain, and earn some good money, and also something to kind of show off to your friends or your other guys that are interacting on the blockchain. So essentially, the way that it works is everybody can get one Depth Soul NFT. You cannot get more than one on your wallet. You'd have to use more than one wallet to get more than one. There's a lot of ways that you can get it for free for that initial NFT, and then what you can do is you can upgrade it to increase your earning potential, and in addition to that, you can do something called sacrificing, which will increase the speed at which you earn. So I'm going to get into details about all of that a little bit later, but to break it down really simple, it's something where anyone can get involved for free, and I'm going to show you how in a minute. And then you can spend a little bit of depth, which burns the majority of that depth, and that will increase your earnings within the Depth protocol. So now that you understand, basically what Depth is, you can see that, you start out at the free tier. I mean, you can pay 125 depth to get there. but I'm going to show you guys all how you can get this for free. And, this pays out a little bit less than 1 depth per day. It's meant to give you a little taste of the protocol, get a feel for it. And then, once you decide that you want to dive deeper into the ocean, you want to descend, you can start to earn more. And that's where this calculator that we set up on the homepage is pretty handy. So you can see that, at the shallowest tiers, this is showing the exact same thing that you see over in the chart. Just upgrading 1 tier to reef, and I'm just going to pop the sacrifices up to max. You can see it only costs $45 to upgrade to tier 1. So basically descend 1 tier, and also to max your sacrifices. It costs you $45, and your earnings go from 17 cents a day to $1.45 a day. So you have a 32-day ROI on this. So it kind of makes it a no-brainer, right? So like once you get a feel for it, once you get a taste of the free tier, you say, okay, well, if I spend $45, now I can start earning $1.45 a day. Let's check out the next tier, for example. Right. So I'm just going to max this out because it typically makes sense to max out your sacrifices. And again, I'm going to demonstrate all this for you guys a bit later in the stream. But tier 2, you can step up to $3.63 a day of earnings at a cost of $165. And, basically, you can just keep going. You can keep playing with the numbers here to see like where you want to land. You don't have to do it all at once. You can, you can upgrade as far as you're comfortable, and you can then start saving up some of your depth earnings to, you can start saving up some of your depth earnings to cover your future upgrades. Thanks, Michelle. You hear music eventually. Yeah, I hear the deeper you go, you start to hear some music. So got some comments coming in on Abstract Portal as well. Hello, everyone over there. Glad you guys could make the stream. Yeah, so I mean, essentially that's how it works. The deeper that you descend, the more that you're able to earn, and you can sacrifice to speed up your earnings. Pretty straightforward stuff. And again, you can always go to we have this nice yield simulator here that just shows you, at what tier the entire cost to achieve everything that you've set up here, right? So tier 4 with max sacrifices, the total cost at the current prices would be 1.1K, and it pays you out $21.79 a day, and it would take 51 days to ROI. So this is one of the nice features that we've introduced recently. Something else that we've introduced pretty recently is the leaderboard. So this is one leaderboard that we've introduced. We're going to introduce a bunch more leaderboards that track different things. So this one that we've released so far, it's looking at how many people have reached the deepest tiers, and it's also tracking who's the first one to reach that tier. So you can see the deepest tiers, we only have 1 user in each of these tiers. But if we go down to Abyssal, we have 9 people that have reached this tier, and we can see that a bunch of people have reached it on March 10th, but this user here reached it first on March 10th. And you can see that these other wallets have reached it at various other days. And so you'll see every single tier is kind of rated by who was the first one to reach that tier. So we still have the very top tier, Mariana, which again, if we go down to our little chart here, the deepest tier, which can earn you up to $726 a day, 3,000 depth. No one's yet breached that tier yet. So whoever reaches that tier first will forever be number 1 on the leaderboard, because again, it's tracking the first one to reach all of these different tiers. So keep in mind, it's not going to be cheap for someone to reach that tier. I mean, just to show you guys what that's going to cost at the current prices, we're at $37,500 approximately. So not cheap, but I'm sure someone's going to reach that at some point, and likely in the near future. So let's see who's the first wallet to reach that tier. But yes, I mean, I think the leaderboard's a cool way just to kind of see where you stand compared to everybody else. I'm on a brand new wallet because I'm going to do a demonstration for you guys soon. But if you're on a wallet that's already minted a tier or minted a depth soul, so you can see I'm on a brand new one and I do qualify for a free mint. I'm going to explain all that to you guys soon. But if you do already have a position minted, it'll show you your position up here, and it will let you actually tweet out and post a tweet saying, hey, look, I'm tier, or I'm rank 50 out of 400, or whatever it's going to say. So that's a pretty cool feature that we just added. let's get into how you can actually get this for free. So that way you guys can follow along as I do the demonstration. So there's two ways that you can qualify for free. And actually, let me switch to a wallet that doesn't qualify maybe. Do I have a wallet that doesn't qualify? This one should do. So if you just connect a random wallet to the website, or your wallet to the website, you'll see that in the eligibility status here, it's checking a couple things. So first thing that it's checking is AGW status. So all AGW users who have a gold status or better qualify for a free mint. This is going to get listed on the Abstract portal in the near future. It's not there quite yet, but I think Nick told me there's over 20,000 Abstract users that have Gold Plus status. So once this is listed on the Abstract portal, we should see an extreme rush of new users to Depth, and that's going to be a really incredible thing to see. The code word is tricky. Sorry guys, I'm just also getting over a little bit of a little cold. I feel a lot better today, but been pretty sick the last couple days. Just do it. Go deep. Yes, sir. Crypto Arborist gets it. So as you guys can see here, this wallet that I just connected, this is actually like some hard hat testing wallet. Don't ever use this for anything. It's like, anyway, that's not relevant. I just knew that wallet was not going to be connected to anything. So you can see it's not an AGW wallet, and it is not connected to the GBlue bot. So the first way you qualify for free is if you have an AGW, if you're Gold Plus tier, you can just connect your AGW and you will be able to mint for free immediately. The other way to qualify for free is through the GBlue Telegram bot. So this is, I've actually updated this within the last day or two, and this will tell you exactly how you can, without spending any money, qualify for a free mint. So first, you're going to want to join the GBlue Telegram. You're going to want to open the GBlue bot, which we have a link right here, which will open it up, which you can see here. And what you do is, so to qualify for free, it's actually telling you right here, because you need 250 points with the bot to qualify for the free mint. So just to break it down super simple, if you go sign up for a free AGW wallet, so if you don't already have AGW, get yourself an AGW. It doesn't matter what tier it is. It can be a brand new AGW account, AGW wallet. And you're going to want to connect that wallet with the GBlue bot. So the GBlue bot's not going to really let you do anything until you connect the wallet to it. So instead of connecting your traditional wallet, I mean, you can connect as many wallets to the GBlue bot as you want, but you get 100 points for connecting a wallet, and you get 100 bonus points if you connect an AGW wallet. So that's how you get your first 200 points. Then we've also just recently added the ability to connect X to your X or Twitter account in the bot. You do that in the exact same place that you connect your wallet, and that will grant you an additional 50 points. So 250 points will get you to member status with the GBlue bot, and that is all that you need in order to mint a free Depth Soul NFT. So it's really as straightforward as that. So I wanted to make it so that, even for those that don't have AGW gold, there's still another way to qualify for the free mint. It does still require you to interact with AGW. We're real partners with Abstract. We're trying to really push things along together with Abstract. So that's why AGW is part of these requirements as well. And yeah, so with following those steps, you'll be able to just. So again, once you have 250 points, what you can do is you just pop back over to the Depth Soul website, connect to your wallet. Any of your wallets that you've connected with the GBlue bot will let you mint for free on that wallet. Right. So let me just switch over to a brand new wallet I just created that I connected to my GBlue bot. And we're going to do a little, we've got like 60 viewers now, plus a bunch on Abstract. So I think we've got enough to, this is not the right wallet. Oh, that was the depth deployer. Okay, let me go to the depth demo account. There we go. There we go. So, well, I got a question over on Abstract Portal that I'm going to grab real quick. 1 second. Okay, the question is, okay, I asked before, but I did not quite understand it. I asked about staking GBlue, and from my understanding, you hold it in your wallet and get rewards that way. Do the rewards automatically go into our wallet or have to claim somewhere? I was told that I could put GBlue and Aborian as liquidity GBlue ETH and still get the staking rewards. Is this true? Please elaborate. Okay, let me talk about that a little bit before we do our demo here. Let's pop over to the GBlue XYZ website. And so the question is about GBlue and GBlue staking rewards, and also about the Aborian GBlue ETH LP. So let's talk about those separately. So GBlue, what GBlue is like the long name of GBlue is governance blue. So basically that's wrapped staked blue. So if we go over to our regular website, so actually something else I'm going to talk about is we are slightly adjusting the daily rate of blue. I'm going to get into that a little bit later in the AMA, but essentially GBlue is bridged from BNB chain. The blue token, if you hold the blue token, you don't earn rebases. So you don't earn this, what is now 0.9% daily. If you stake blue for stake, if you stake blue, your blue becomes staked blue. That is an auto rebasing token where you every 4 hours your token count increases. GBlue earns rebases the exact same as staked blue, but it just earns it in a different way. It uses the staking index. The staking index is increasing every 4 hours. So if you hold, like, for example, 1 GBlue token, every 4 hours, that 1 GBlue is worth more and more blue every 4 hours. Now, that doesn't matter if the GBlue is on BNB chain or on Abstract chain, because for every GBlue on Abstract chain, there's 1 GBlue that's in the staking or in the bridging contract on BNB chain. So it's basically the exact equivalent as GBlue on BNB chain. So, so to answer your question, any GBlue anywhere is always earning rebases, whether it's in your wallet, whether it's in an LP, whether it's on BNB chain, whether it's on Abstract, it's all earning rebases the same way. Now, the dual stack rewards that I've talked about in the past is that you can, pair up your GBlue with ETH, and you can earn either 159% through the regular staking gauge, so that 159% is paid in ABX tokens. And I mean, I'll show you this. I'll just pop onto the blue deployer just so you can see a position. So you can see here, this is a pretty significant position, but this is earning almost $150 worth of ABX per day. So this is earning like 52,000 ABX daily. And I've claimed this pretty recently, so there's only $9 pending there. But this is your second way that you earn with GBlue. And this is kind of the preferred way to earn with GBlue, just because, the majority of our liquidity on the entire blue ecosystem is GBlue on Abstract. So the rebases, they would have a bigger impact if we had like huge liquidity on blue on BNB chain. But because of the liquidity of GBlue on Abstract is so much bigger, it makes the rebase rate not quite as important. So I'd say, like, for everybody that wants to earn, I'd say the best way is to just build up your GBlue ETH positions as big as you possibly can. I'd look at the GBlue rebase as like an added bonus, but I'd say the GBlue ETH is really the way that you want to make the majority of your returns with GBlue. And again, we also have the auto compounding vault, that, when you factor in the auto compounding aspect of it, it increases the returns quite substantially. And also, just to go back to this, you can see the staking index shown here. You can also see that here, right? So that's exactly how much blue each GBlue is worth. And when the blue protocol launched, that ratio was at 1.0. So you can see that holding 1 GBlue back when we launched would, was only worth 1 blue back then. Now it's worth 40.7 blue. So hopefully I explained that well. If that's not clear, please let me know and I'll try to elaborate on that. Submariners unite. You bet, man. Meet you guys all down at the bottom. Okay, another question on abstract. You don't get extra GBlue, you get a better index, which gets you more blue eventually. Yeah, 100%. 100%, that's exactly how it works. All right. So yeah, if any other questions about GBlue come up, let me know. I'll definitely be happy to pop back over here and explain better. But yeah, actually, I think we hit a record high votes this epoch. Let's take a look. We show it here. So I think a couple have dropped off, but I believe we ended last epoch with over 83 million votes, which is over 15% of all votes on Aborian, which is pretty incredible. Actually, that's well, actually, I can't see it anymore because the epoch flipped. But so Gate actually had put up some bribes for some of their gauges. So that took a bunch of votes away that we would have potentially got, because our voting rewards was like right up there with like some of the top gauges. But yeah, because Gate, they were promoting 3 of their gauges, so they had a couple $1,000 of rewards in each of those. If that hadn't have happened, I think we probably would have got to 100 million votes, which is pretty insane. I'm not sure how long that campaign is going to continue. But yeah, either way, over 80 million votes is absolutely incredible. So congrats to everybody in the community. We're really taking over the voting scene on Aborian, and the rewards that our GBlue ETH gauge is getting is really reaping the benefits of all those votes. And we do see a little bit of sell pressure on GBlue once the epoch flips over, and that's because of the fact that we are putting up thousands of dollars of GBlue and bribes to get all these votes. But the benefit that we get from having that high APY is offsetting. So we do usually see a little bit of a pullback when the epoch flips, but yeah, this is, again, I've said this so many times in the past, but I really feel that GBlue ETH is like one of the very best like risk reward ratio opportunities in crypto. I think that we've got a lot going on already. We're going to be continuously building, and just the strength that we've shown in these tough market conditions just goes to show what you guys can expect once the broader markets start looking better. So I think we're in a great position. We got a question from Eric on Abstract Portal. He says, is it better to keep GBlue aside or better pump it in depth? That's a good question. Depth. So GBlue, what can you do with GBlue? You either pair your GBlue with ETH and, either go into the gauge or you go into the auto compounding vault. You can hold your GBlue to the side, or you can, swap your GBlue for depth. My personal opinion is that I think depth is just barely getting started. Like, I'm incredibly bullish on GBlue. I don't think you can go wrong holding either GBlue on the side or having GBlue ETH in the LP. I think those are 2 extremely great options. But I think with the fact that we just recently released depth and the mechanics of depth designed around onboarding, tens of thousands of users, and I think that's going to start to happen once a couple of these final pieces get put into place between us and the abstract team, and we're right on the cusp of that happening. I think that onslaught of users that we're going to get into depth makes depth a pretty attractive option right now. So it's really, I can't say what for sure is going to perform better than the other, but I will say that I think that for anyone active in the community or even anyone new to the community, I think getting a position in depth where you've descended quite deep into the tiers, I think is a smart move. So I think that I'd say that that's a great use of GBlue, would be to pick up depth in order to descend down the tiers and to start earning more and more depth. You can always take that depth that you're going to be earning in the future and you can swap that over to GBlue. That does not hurt the price of GBlue to swap depth to GBlue, because our main LP is depth in GBlue. So yeah, I think that based on everything going on right now, I think that depth is set to explode. So I think using your depth to really upgrade your tier and sacrifice is a pretty smart move. Yeah, we got a great comment on Abstract Portal. Don't fade GBlue, man. Depth will kill it, but GBlue has too much potential to not hold. 100%. Like I'm incredibly bullish on GBlue. I keep saying I think it's the best risk reward position to take in crypto right now. But I think there's a lot of excitement around depth, and I think that depth hasn't even really gotten started yet. So if you can maintain your GBlue position as much as possible while still going deep into depth, pardon the pun, I think that it's good to be positioned in both plays. And again, like I think that depth is probably set to explode in the near future. So I think that it's a risk, but I think that going deep into depth could likely end you up with more GBlue in the future by taking those depth rewards that you'll earn over time and converting those back into GBlue, and either building upon that GBlue position or just rebuilding it or adding to it, or really depends on what you did originally. But I don't think you can go too wrong either way, to be honest. But yeah, I just think that a lot's coming up for depth that maybe some people aren't quite ready for. All right, so where was I? I think I was about to do the demo position. Let me switch back over to that wallet. Demo depth. So another quick comment here on the abstract portal. It'd be great if you earn extra points on TGBot based on how many depth you have in your wallet. Yeah, so that's something I'm going to add. I've already added you already earn depth points, or you already earn TGBot points based on your depth soul NFT tier. I am going to update the point allocation there because I think it's a little bit too conservative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically look at, I'm going to basically go to the homepage. I'm basically going to look at the costs to get to each of the tiers, and I'm going to assign an appropriate point value based on like the cost to reach each tier, right? I think right now it's way too conservative. You're not getting enough points for upgrading. So that I will improve, but I will also add points for holding depth, because I know a lot of people are going to be holding depth in order to save up for the next upgrade. So we want to reward you guys for holding that depth while you're waiting for that upgrade. All right, we got another comment on Abstract Portal. 60% of my GBlue is in the LP, and I use the other 40% to get a position in depth. Yeah, there you go. That's, perfect strategy right there. I mean, again, I don't think you can go too wrong with any kind of, ratio breakup, but, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But yeah, I mean, anything 60-40, one way or the other, 70-30, whatever you guys are most bullish on. And, it's depth does have a 5% transfer tax, or, basically buy sell tax. So I guess keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, the main LP of depth is with GBlue. So you can swap between those two as often as you want, and it doesn't impact the GBlue price. So, but yeah, so I am going to be updating that in the near future. So let's get into, I'm going to demonstrate the new dashboard for you guys. So I already went over how to qualify for free. So you can see I'm on my main Telegram account. I've got a lot of points. You only need 250 points to qualify for a free mint. And actually, what I'll do is I'm going to show you what the screen looks like where you connect your wallet. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to open up the GBlue bot. I can find it here in my Telegram. So once you open the mini app, the easiest way to go is the first thing you're going to see is continue in browser. This is the way I recommend you guys to connect your wallets and connect your X account. A lot of wallets, they might not let you connect it if you're trying to do it right within the Telegram mini app. So if you just press this button that I just pressed, you can see link your accounts. So you can see my X account is linked here. This is the wallet that I'm actually going to be doing the demo on. So you can see I've already linked that. And I have not already claimed a free NFT. So each Telegram account qualifies for one free mint. So if I had already claimed a free mint, I wouldn't be able to do this. So basically just, and you can see I have an AGW connected here as well. So once again, everybody can qualify for a free mint. All you need to do, go to the GBlue Telegram bot, connect an AGW wallet. It can be any tier. Mine happens to be gold, so I would have qualified anyways. But even if you have one that's bronze 1, it doesn't matter. Any AGW wallet connected gets you 200 points. Connecting X gets you another 50 points. That's the 250 you need to mint for free. So everybody can get one of these. So yeah, so that's how you can qualify. And as you guys can see, I'm qualified. So I'm just going to hit this button and get my free NFT. And then our GBlue bot is going to, well, actually I have privacy settings on my account. So once you're a high tier with the GBlue bot, you can set it if you want your notifications to show or not. So yeah, actually, so that mint is actually not going to show in our Telegram. But as you can see, I'm already earning depth. And again, every single person can qualify for this. So I'm depth soul number 455. And again, this is a soul bound NFT. I can't transfer this to anyone. I can't, basically it's in my wallet forever, and I can't get any more than one. You can claim rewards as often as you want. There's not very much there right now, but just to show you guys, I just claimed that. It will accumulate for a max of 7 days. And after 7 days, it will just stop accumulating. So recommend claiming at least once every 7 days. Now, this is the part, increase your earnings. I'm just going to unselect everything here first. I'm still figuring out the best way to get this information across in the simplest way possible. I think this is a huge improvement over how we initially had it, but it still is a little bit confusing, I think. So I want to really go over this quite in depth, pardon the pun. So right now I have a shallow tier NFT, which again is our first tier. If we look here, so shallow actually cannot sacrifice. So my only option is to upgrade. Now you can see if I upgrade, I spend 125 depth. I start earning 1.36 depth per day. So I basically double up on my earnings. Now, just to make this easier, what I've also done is I've said, okay, well, actually, hopefully I have enough on this wallet to be able to do this. I want to try and upgrade twice. So so basically what I want to do right now is I want to upgrade from shallows. I want to go to the next tier. I want to go to reef, right? So let's just do that first. So I got to pick up 125 depth. Let's get some depth. So let's trade some GBlue for depth. Okay, that should be good for now. That was kind of weird. That made me approve twice. I'll have to double check why that happened. Oh yeah, one other thing. I did update the swap. So now, because various aspects of the protocol will require you to have GBlue. So basically now you can swap any token for any token, right? So if you have USDC, you can now buy depth or GBlue with your USDC or with your Ethereum. So it's not just strictly a depth swap. You can get depth or GBlue. Missed the first 30 minutes. Have I missed any alpha? Yeah, I mean, these AMAs are full of alpha. You'll be able to rewatch on YouTube and X and Twitch. I think, I'm not sure if my Twitch is auto saving the recording, but yeah, you can definitely feel free to watch back on YouTube. So let me just continue. I'll catch up with some of the other questions after I just finish up this demo. So now I've got myself some depth. So again, just to make this as simple as possible for you guys, what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to upgrade to reef. Okay. So I'm not going to do any sacrifices because I did design this to be able to do a lot of things at once. So like if I did this, what you see here, you can see my earnings are actually going to go from 0.68 depth per day to 6 depth per day, because this would actually upgrade me to reef, and it's going to put my depth sacrifices at the max tier, and it's going to put my GBlue sacrifices at the max tier. Now, keep in mind, I can't sacrifice on my current tier, so I actually have to also do the reef sacrifice or the reef upgrade and sacrifice. But just to make that a little bit more clear for you guys, I'm only going to do the reef upgrade for now, and I'm going to do this right after. So I'm doing an approval. I switched our approvals to max approvals. So now you should only have to do approvals once, not every single time you do a transaction. So now I'm just approving the upgrade tier, 125 depth, 80% of that's going to get burned immediately. So you can see the color scheme kind of changes a little bit. And I can just press continue here. That was supposed to update. Okay, I thought I changed it so that it would not cache the image, but so I am at reef tier. I mean, I guess it takes a second to update. Yeah, I'll have to revisit that. I could have sworn I had updated that to make it auto update. So like I am at reef tier. Like if I go to OpenSea, for example, and I refresh the metadata here. Of course, everything goes wrong during the live streams, right? Okay, well, either way, something's a little bit slow there, but I am at reef tier now. So now you can see I'm at reef tier, but my sacrifices are at 0 out of 5 and 0 out of 5. So the reason why I did it this way is I felt it'd be better to explain to you guys how this all works being in this position. So what I can do now is if I want to just sacrifice, I can sacrifice from 0 out of 5 to 5 out of 5 and 0 out of 5 to 5 out of 5. And that's going to jump me from 1.36 depth per day to 6 depth per day. And it's going to give me a 10% bonus on my cap of my current tier, which also increases your earnings. Now, this is not upgrading me to the next tier. It's only doing my sacrifices. But for those of you that want to do everything all in one shot, you could also say, hey, I want to upgrade to sunlit tier and I want to sacrifice. So that's going to bump me from 1.36 all the way up to 15 depth per day, right? So essentially, the best way to look at this is that selecting this will upgrade your tier. And if you have this selected or not, changes kind of like the goalposts of what these sacrifices do. Because if you don't have the upgrade selected, these sacrifices are sacrificing based on your current tier to max. If you do have this selected, these sacrifices are upgrading your sacrifices to where they need to be so that your sunlit tier would be fully sacrificed. And like, I think this needs a little bit more work to make that a little bit more clear to understand, just because like even just explaining it right now, it's like I have to explain it like, you know, several different ways just to kind of make sure that it comes across clearly. But does anybody have any questions about that? Just in terms of how that works? I know it's not as straightforward as it could be, and I'm really working on figuring out how to make it as simple as possible. I think it is a huge improvement over how we had it before, because I think the most important thing is that no matter what you do here, it's going to give you an accurate representation of, you know, what you have to spend and how much you're going to be earning after you make that spend. Where like before we did these upgrades, you had to do everything separately, and there was no like total calculation on it. So, so before, if you were at a certain tier and you were max sacrificed, and then you upgraded your tier, you would know. Actually, let me do that just to demonstrate it. So I'm gonna do my sacrifices just to get my reef tier max sacrificed. Give me 1 sec here. So I'm doing a GBlue approval. Now I'm confirming my depth sacrifice. Now I'm confirming my GBlue sacrifice. Okay. So now this image still not updated. All right. I'm going to look at that right after the AMA, because I am at reef tier. It's just that we cached the images. So I thought I built in a way for it to, you know, basically kill the cache and auto update, but I'll have to take a look at that again. But yeah, so now I'm at reef tier with max sacrifice. I'm earning 6.02 depth per day. So now this is the main thing that I wanted to address with this update. So because I'm max sacrificed right now, if I only upgrade to sunlit, you can see my earnings are actually going to go down. This wasn't clear before because my sacrifice levels are going to drop from 5 out of 5 down to 1 out of 5. So even though upgrading is going to increase my total earning potential from 1,000 depth to 2,500 depth, even though that's the case, I'm going to earn at a slower pace because my sacrifice levels have dropped, right? And so this is trying to be as clear as possible about, my depth resonance deactivates. So that was the 10% bonus I was getting for being max sacrificed. And also my tier upgrade drops my sacrifice levels to 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 5. Select sacrifices to rebuild them. So that's why, if you look at the leaderboard, you'll notice that most people are max sacrificed. That's how you get the most bang for your buck, is to, max out your sacrifices. So I definitely recommend everybody do that. But again, you can see just strictly doing the upgrade, I am going to actually have a lower daily payout rate. So if I pump those back up, you can see now I'm up to 15. So I don't have quite enough depth. So let's go. I don't know. I don't know if I need to do that upgrade. This is a throwaway wallet, so I don't know if I want to just waste a bunch of tokens here, because I'm probably just going to never look at this wallet ever again after this demo. But I think that for the most part explained how to use the new upgrade system and how it works with, combining different aspects of like sacrificing and upgrading. Let me know, guys, if that's clear to you guys, or if you guys need any more clarity on that. Blue Protocol has some serious depth. 100%, man. 100%. Let's go. Okay, we got another question on the abstract portal. Chef, can you please explain what the streak actually does? I don't get that. Say I have a streak of 8 days, which has plus 8%. What is that plus 8%? So the streak is, so I'm thinking of actually some improvements for the protocol, which will make the streak a little bit more important or more relevant. But the short answer is that if your speed is at 4 times, so if you're max sacrificed, currently the speed boost is doing nothing for you for the streak, because 4x is the hard cap. You can't go any faster than 4x. So the streak is really only important if you're not at 4x. So if you're below 4x, then you get a plus 3% speed bonus, just for having an active, basically, check-in. So like, for example, I think I claimed before I upgraded. That's why. So actually, I can't check in again until 24 hours from now. Excuse me. So basically, yeah, you can get up to a 25% speed bonus if you have 90 consecutive days of checking in. And this will be something that's a little bit more relevant in the future, after some improvements that we're going to make to the mechanics of the protocol. But yeah, so essentially, if you're not at 4x already, after 7+ days of not missing a check-in, you would be at a plus 8% speed bonus. So hope that cleared that up for you. Yep. So follow-up question here is, so the streak is actually good when you don't have full sacrifices. Is that it? Yeah. So again, I'm going to make an improvement in the near future, which is going to make the streak beneficial for everybody. But for right this moment, if you have full sacrifices, the streak doesn't matter to you. But again, it takes 90 days of streak to get the plus 25%. And I am going to make a change so that the streak is going to factor in. So I'd suggest you guys maintain your streaks if you can. And again, to maintain your streak, all you need to do is make a claim every 24 hours. And there should be detailed stats here, right, about when was your last check-in and when your streak expires, right? So I don't actually have a streak because I claimed before I reached a tier that qualifies for streaks. So this would normally say 1 day because I just checked in. And then after this time elapses, you'll have a 24-hour window where you need to make a claim, before your streak expires. This should be very clear for anybody that has a streak going. If you come look at this section of the dashboard, it should be very clear for you. Oh, actually, I almost completely forgot about this. This is something that was just recently added that I didn't talk too much about yet. But So I built out a full subgraph, which is basically like a data layer for depth. So every single thing that a user does with depth, whether that be claiming your depth soul NFT, claiming rewards, upgrading, sacrificing, we're tracking that in a subgraph based on events as they come through on the blockchain. And one of the cool things that we're doing with that is we're attaching a US dollar value to everything that happens. And we assign that US dollar value at the time of the event. So what that means is that when it says I spent 156, or when it says that I spent 125 depth here, this is how much that depth cost me, or that's how much that depth was worth at the moment that I did that upgrade. So if, when depth is $1 in the future, this is not going to say $125. It's going to still say $30 because that was the price when I did the upgrade. And that also applies to, our stats. Like, there's some great stats to look at as well. We've burned 421,000 depth, which is $81,000 worth. But we're not taking the shortcut that a lot of protocols take. We're not just multiplying 421,000 depth multiplied by the current price, right? Like, let's actually do the math on that just to show that that's different, right? So you guys can't see this calculator, but I'm just going to go 421,410. So 421,410 times 0.2232. So that's actually $94,000 worth of burns at the current price. But our subgraph is tracking every burn and the value of the depth at the time of the burn. And same with emissions, right? So all of these values are the actual real legitimate values, not just an approximation based on the current price. So I think that's a really good thing to have the data be as accurate as possible. And yeah, if you look at these stats, it's looking incredible. We haven't yet had that push from Abstract team to get us into the portal and to get us listed as a perk. That's right around the corner as far as I'm aware. And that's going to, really make these numbers jump. Like, it should be very surprising to everybody how much these numbers are going to jump when that happens. And I really can't wait to revisit these stats after that's been in place for a couple of days. And that should be just right around the corner. But you guys can see we started with 2 million depth. We're down to 1.64 million. And you can see that that's clearly because we've had 63,000 depth worth of emissions and 421,000 depth worth of burns. So that depth supply keeps going down. As more and more guys are trying to reach into those deeper tiers, the burns are going to accelerate. I think we could easily see supply shock, and I think this could really go parabolic. So pretty incredible stuff. So one thing I forgot to show you guys. So on the swap page, you can swap any token for any token. That's one of the recent additions. Depth actually has 2 liquidity pools. So, you don't need to really check this, but, it is actually checking both liquidity pools when you make a swap just to see which one's going to give you the better output. So like even if you're going USDC to depth, because there is a direct depth to USDC pool, you could see I'm getting a better value by going USDC to ETH to GBlue to depth. That's getting me a better output than the depth pool right now. Because there is a 5%, excuse me, because there is a 5% tax on depth, the price of the 2 pools is not always perfectly in line. The price of the 2 pools needs to get like, I don't know, about 11% different before it's profitable for bots to arb them. So there is typically going to be a slight difference between the price of depth between the 2 pools. So if you're buying on our site or on the Aborian site does routing properly as well. You can be assured that you're going to be going through the pool that is going to get you the best output. And so same goes in reverse, right? So if I were to sell depth for USDC, you can see I'm getting a better output on the depth USDC pool. So that's what it's going to give me. Although keep in mind that this is taking the 5% tax into consideration. That's why the number is different than this. But yeah. So our swap page is in quite great shape. The thing I wanted to show you guys is we do have a bonding market open. I think, we've been doing bonding through Blue and GBlue for quite a while. So I think a lot of you guys are probably pretty familiar with this, but for those that aren't, so basically the bond is actually at a premium right now. So now is not the greatest time to pick up bonds, but what you can do is you can jump in here and you can pay USDC to get depth at what's usually a discount. So there's a lot of mechanics that go into bonding. I don't want to get into that all right now because it's a little bit off topic, but basically when there's a high demand for the bond, it's at a premium, which is actually a pretty bullish thing because that means that anybody that wants to buy depth, their only option is to buy at open market. As time passes without people buying the bond, the price will start to drop. So, the whether it's at a premium or discount depends on a lot of things. It depends on the price of depth. It depends on how much demand there's been on the bond. Every time somebody buys a bond, the price of the bond will go up and will make either the discount shrink or the premium increase. But yeah, it's overall very bullish for depth when it's at a premium because people have to buy at open market. That's it doesn't make any sense to bond when it's at a premium. So and with this, there's a 2-day vesting period. So once you purchase a bond with USDC, you do have to wait 2 days to be able to claim that depth out. And one thing I should mention is there is no tax at all when you're using the bonding system. So, for example, if you put in 50 USDC and you're going to get 211 depth, you will be able to claim that 211 depth without any tax. So if you're planning on bonding to use it for sacrificing or upgrading your tier, this is a way to acquire depth without having to pay any tax along the way, because you're not taxed on the purchase of upgrades and you're not taxed on redeeming your bonds. So there is a 5% tax on buying and selling depth, on the open market. So definitely for anyone that's looking to acquire depth, I'd suggest, pop over to the bond section. If you're okay with waiting 2 days to get paid out, just see if there's a discount. If, right now that it's a premium, so it's, makes more sense to buy at open market. But if there is a discount here, the discount's been as high as 12, 15% just in the last day. Just keep an eye on this, and, great time to purchase is anytime the discounts, 5, 10% or higher. Be a great time to pick up some bonds. We got a comment on the abstract portal. Yeah, that activity log is so beautiful. Track everything you do in one screen. Great subgraph, chef. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And, obviously, once you've been in the protocol for a while, you're going to have a lot of activity here. So you can filter it down to, okay, that was my mint. These are all my claims. These are all my tier upgrades, all my sacrifices. Nobody's recharged yet, but that's there for once people start doing that. And yeah, I think I am going to upgrade the wording of this because I don't like how it shows the negative net position. This got brought up to me today. And because, you're not really net negative because you have a position that's earning you money. It's this is just showing that I've spent more than I've taken out, but it's not factoring in the value of my position. So I think because of that, it makes it look more negative. This is not really a negative thing at all, but it's just because of the way it's doing the math, it doesn't look super great. So I'm going to figure out a better way to display this so it looks more positive. Excuse me. So yeah, that's really proud of that activity log. I think a lot of guys will find that pretty useful. Let's see, what else do I got to go over? Okay, let's go pop over to Blue BNB. So again, I touched base on this a little bit earlier. With the majority of our liquidity for, Blue and GBlue, the majority of our liquidity is on abstract as GBlue. So the rebase rate is not quite as important as it was in the past. It does increase the value of GBlue, but again, because the majority of liquidity is on GBlue, a bigger impact of a high rebase rate is it's just dropping the price of Blue on BNB chain, which, most guys are holding GBlue. Most guys are, not many people are holding Blue without it being staked. So it doesn't really make much of a difference if the actual Blue price drops, if the GBlue price is steady or increasing. But, instead of having Blue price just drop into the ground, because again, GBlue has most of our liquidity, I think it just makes more sense to, I talked about this in the whale group a little while ago. And, I think the number that makes a lot of sense is because we do have 6 rebases per day, I think, a 0.6% daily rebase rate makes a lot of sense. So basically every single rebase would be a 0.1% rebase. And so what I've set up is I've set up a very slow and gradual decline from the 1% that we were at to 0.6%. I think I set it to go over 3 months. I'd have to double check that, but I did make it a very, very slow transition. So yeah, any questions or comments about that, I'm happy to answer. But I think it's just better for the optics on the protocol. Like, I don't think like for the real ways to make money in the Blue ecosystem, which is, with GBlue, with the GBlue ETH LP, with depth, the rebase rate here really like doesn't factor into any of that pretty much whatsoever. So it's pretty much just making the blue price on BNB drop for no real reason. So that's kind of the logic behind that rebase rate adjustment. Okay, we got a question on Abstract Portal. So I know I can't throw these on the screen, so I'll just read these out loud. If you upgrade the NFT after 3 weeks to dive deeper, does the 6-month max force speed reset, or do you keep the timeline 5 months, 1 week, for example? Okay, great question. So the way that this works is, what's the easiest way to explain this? So everything is based on caps, right? So where do we show the caps? So let's just say you're upgrading from like twilight to midnight. So if your cap is 7,500 and you have a 4-time speed boost, you're going to earn those 7,500 tokens over the course of 6 months. Now, let's just say you earned 500 of those 7,500 tokens, and then you upgrade to midnight. Well, when you upgrade to midnight, now you're earning 15,000 tokens. And if you fully sacrifice to have a 4-time speed boost, basically your daily earning rate would be like the same as anybody else that's on midnight that has a 4-time speed boost. But where your previous earnings comes into play is like how long until you hit that 15,000 cap, right? Because like if you've already claimed 500 tokens, you'd only have 14,500 remaining in your cap, right? So like your claimed token amount carries over, if that makes sense, right? So like, so I guess technically once you upgrade, and if you have a max sacrifice, it's going to be less than 6 months until you hit that cap because you've already done some claiming. I have no idea how well I explained that. So if that was not clear to anyone, please let me know, and I can elaborate on that. But I mean, it's essentially like the simple way to, okay, understood. Thanks. Explained just fine. Okay, perfect. Great. If anybody else, if that wasn't clear for anybody, then just let me know. But seems that I got it across pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much most of what I wanted to cover today. Me and Nick are working on some exciting new use cases for depth in GBlue. So that's something that once we get the plans a little bit more solidified, we'll start sharing some alpha based on that. There's some improvements I want to make to depth in terms of the mechanics. Again, I mentioned about having the speed boost based on your check-ins being something that can still factor in even if you're max sacrificed. So expect updated information about that in the near future. And yeah, I mean, overall, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions about what do you guys think about depth so far. I know, again, right after we launched, I was away for 4 days on a business trip, and then I got back and I've been sick, and I'm just kind of getting over that now. So, but yeah, no, I think we've done some great work to improve the protocol since I got back. But I mean, it seems like a lot of you guys are really having a lot of fun, and yeah, any feedback that you guys have, I'd love to hear it. What we're doing right, what can be improved, what is making sense, what doesn't make sense. True Millions, love and depth, yes, sir. Yeah, man, I think it's a real banger, and I think that once the floodgates open, once some of these last couple things are taken care of between us and Abstract Chain, we're gonna have a lot of guys deep in the ocean. Let's just say that. Best time to position would be before that all kicks in. Can't wait to chat about it on live stream tonight. Hey man, if you want a guest visitor, shoot me an invite link. I got nothing planned for tonight, so but yeah, either way, I'll be sure to tune in. On the abstract portal side of things, Wolf1 says, brilliant ecosystem, love depth too. Glad you love it, man. And, thanks for all your support and all you guys, right? Like all you guys that are here in the AMA, really, the bottom of my heart, really appreciate all the support of the protocols that we're putting out. A lot of you guys that are commenting on the AMA, I see your X posts, I see your videos, I see your videos, your GIFs. Like you guys are just killing it in terms of, putting out great content for depth and GBlue. So, yeah, really, really, thanks so much everybody for helping support and making depth the best it can be. Just maxed out my tier, preparing to descend deeper. Let's get it. Interested in the use case for depth when participants reach Mariana? Yeah, we'll have other use cases for the depth token. Once that time comes. Again, it's cost about $40,000 for someone to reach that tier. So I think we have a little bit of time to figure that out. But and again, I said this in the Telegram. If someone spends $40,000 getting to Mariana tier, I think it's perfectly acceptable for them to claim out some profits on that position. But I've also said that I think one of the best things you can do with your GBlue profits, your depth profits, is to rotate them into GBlue and build up that GBlue ETH LP. That'll be something that we're always going to be bribing and ensuring there's a high APY on that gauge for as long as we're around, which is should be indefinitely. I don't have any plans of stopping this anytime soon. So I think GBlue ETH is a great place to rotate profits from depth. But yeah, me and Nick are working on some really fun additions that will give more use cases to both GBlue and depth. Yeah, any other feedback in the meantime? Been going for about an hour now. Got about 100 viewers, about 75 on X, 20 on YouTube, 4 on Twitch, and a couple on Abstract. Great turnout today. All right, guys. I guess I'll give it another 10, 20 seconds, see if any other comments roll in. But I guess, for one, feel free to follow on Twitch. I'm going to start streaming to Twitch every time I do my weekly AMAs, because that's one of the better ways to get the stream over to Abstract since they've reworked their streaming portal. So I'll post the link into the chat. It's just twitch.tv/Aaron Shames. True millions, man. You're just saying all the right things, man. Just want to shout out the team for being a shining light in DeFi. Hey, man, we're doing what we can. It's I know it's tough in these market conditions, but I said it before and I'll say it again. I think if you put in enough effort and you put in, if you're just constantly building, constantly looking out for the community, constantly trying to give the community ways to make money, be able to take profit responsibly, I think that we can shine in any market conditions. And I think that the teams that are really working this hard and building like this, when the market is looking the way that it's looking right now, I think it just shows what our protocol is going to be looking like when markets are more bullish and when people are more interested in putting capital to work. So it's we're in a again, for anyone that's not following the broader markets, they aren't looking the greatest. A lot of people are taking risk capital off the table. Not many are looking to deploy capital, and we're still doing extremely well in those conditions. So just imagine once the conditions change to, where people are actively looking for places to deploy capital, it's going to be a whole different ball game, and I can't wait to experience all of that with you guys. Oh man. Wolf over on Abstract Portal says millions needs a bigger light as he goes deeper. Yep. Let's all get as deep as we can. Let's race to those bottom tiers and let's do it. Smart money building now. 100%, man. 100%. All right, guys. Thanks again, everyone that showed up. Sorry, my voice is not 100%. I'm still getting over this cold that I've got, but yeah, I think this is a really, really fun, productive stream, and hopefully everything's straightforward to everyone who watches this back in the future. Feel free to comment. Obviously, like the videos. Comment if you have any questions. Even after the stream's over, I'll try to follow up on those comments. Or, of course, you guys could always reach me in Telegram. Oh, actually, something else worth mentioning real quick. We have a whale group for GBlue, which, of course, Depth being part of the GBlue ecosystem, there's a lot of Depth talk going on in the whale room. You only need 500 points with the GBlue bot to qualify for the whale group. So, you can get 250 points for free just by connecting any AGW to the bot. You get 50 points for connecting X. You get points for your Depth Soul tier once you've upgraded your tier. I mean, you get points even for the very free basic one. You get points for voting for the GBlue gauge. You get points for holding GBlue. You get points for being in the GBlue ETH LP. You get points for having cross-chain positions. There's a lot of different ways to get points. It's really not too difficult to build up to 500. And so once you're at 500 points, you're considered VIP tier, and you're able to just do the /whale group command to the bot in our TG group, and you'll get a private invite to the whale room or whale group. So I think a lot of guys qualify that maybe don't realize that they've qualified. So yeah, definitely, in our GBlue Telegram, do the my tier command with the bot. Check where your points stand, and if you're over 500, yeah, definitely join us in the whale room. Aaron, your voice is fine, has some real depth. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit raspy today, but there's so many puns and so many fun, plays on different words you can make with the Depth protocol. Like going in depth on the mechanics, or there's a lot of great GIFs and stuff too. I think we need to descend deeper. I've been using all kinds of fun ones in the Telegram, but yeah, I think overall this is I'm really happy I came up with this idea and just started building it, and I think it's a real winner. And again, I can't stress enough how this is the really early days. The floodgates have not opened yet, and there's no better time to pick up a position. When's Nick dropping his alpha bomb? So we've got to be a little bit careful about that, because we've kind of burned ourselves in the past by talking about things before we're supposed to talk about them. So Nick is dying to release the alpha bomb, but he just needs 100% confirmation on dates and stuff before he can drop that massive alpha. But I'd say it's very likely in the next 24 hours that Nick will be dropping his mega alpha bomb. So the time to position into Depth and GBlue would be before Nick drops the alpha. My score is 708 points. What was the limit again? If you got 708 points, you qualify, my man. I'll post the command into the chat here. So you could either use this command in a DM with the bot, or you could use that command in our blue Telegram group, and that will get you an invite to the whale group. Okay, defo descending deeper tonight then. I'm going to be watching, man. Do it live on stream. Show them how it's done. Can't wait to see that. I'm going to set my reminder for that stream right after I finish up here. Actually, I think I might have already got a notification going for that one. I'll have to double check, but definitely a stream I'm not going to miss. Actually, you know what? Why don't I post a link for that, man? Let me pull up the link for that stream just so everybody here can see it. Where's the best place that I could find that, just so I could post it real quick? I know I saw it a couple places. Okay, yeah, I think I found it here. Is this the one? Oh, let me switch back to my account. If this is the one, I'll share the URL. Yes, it's streaming on all 3 channels. Okay. Okay, so let me because you're the one in the chat here now. Let me grab the one to your channel. Do you have it set up to I don't see one coming up on your channel. Okay, I'm gonna share this one. Not sure if it's on mine yet. Okay. I tried, brother. So I'll share the one. This is the one that's on Crypto Mischiefs. But like Million said, you'll be able to watch this on Peter's YouTube, on Million's YouTube, or on Crypto Mischief's YouTube. 3 massive supporters of depth, and love all you guys. All right, guys. I think that's about it for today. Again, thanks everyone for showing up. And yeah, definitely catch that AMA later on today. I'm sure there'll be quite a bit of depth talk going on, and I'll definitely be there. So, yep, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'll see you guys next week. And again, any questions you guys have about any of this stuff, drop it in the comments on the YouTube video or in the Telegram. I'm always around there. And again, anybody over 500 points, please join us in the whale group. The more people in there, the better. All right, guys. See you next week.